Coach P. Coach P. Koffe Brown and the DFG Publishing House family presents She Chose Him and Screwed Me, 9 Reasons for Her Decision, a brand new anthology project by 9 incredible women. They share with you their reasons as to why they would date one and choose to be married to another. Order your copy today from your favorite author or simply go to www.dfgpublishingtoday.com.
What's up, everybody? It is Tuesday night, and this is The Hot Seat. I'm your hostess with the mostest, P. Koffe Brown. I don't need my specs for the show. I already got my stuff together. I don't need no glasses tonight. But welcome. As you're coming in, go ahead, spread the wealth. Let others know that you're coming to kick it with us tonight for this week's edition of The Hot Seat. We got some chaos in the building. AKA Jason Thibodeau tonight, acting up already before we went live. So what's up, everybody? As you come in, go ahead, click those share buttons. Let everybody know you're in the hot seat. I'm accompanied by my homeboy, Taylor May Speaks in the building, Lady Victoria in the building, and Jason Troublemaker Thibodeau is here. Okay? Real talk. So what's up, everybody? Welcome on in. We have a great discussion set for you guys tonight. It's going to be popping. We are talking about dating after divorce. People that have been married before and they, for whatever reason, their marriage, maybe it didn't work, spouse passed away, whatever the case might be. We're talking about how do you get back out there on the dating scene and do it to where it's effective and you can enjoy the experience. Okay. So we're talking about that tonight. We're going to be chatting it up about that conversation. In the building with me are some certified master life coaches that are here to help us with this topic. Taylor, you'll appreciate this. I found a toxic relationship test today. Did I take it? No.
Oh, what?
I was like, I'm not gonna take it. If I'm toxic, I'm gonna stay toxic. Period.
She just spared herself. That's all.
Listen, that's why I ain't taking. I said, man, maybe I am in a toxic relationship. But hey, I don't need everybody to know that. So if I take the test, I'm gonna have to tell somebody, and I don't want to tell nobody. I'm with Toxic Bae. If I'm with Toxic Bae. So go ahead, everybody, introduce yourself real quick. Let everybody know a little bit about you in 60 seconds or less. Taylor, let's start with you.
Hey, everyone. My name is Taylor Made Speaks. Look, I specialize in toxic relationship. I will help you exit out a toxic relationship within 30 days or less, guaranteed. And the reason why I can say guaranteed, because I haven't failed yet.
Okay. All right. Lady Victoria. Oh, that was an aggressive introduction. Lady Victoria, you are on mute. Mama, come on out that mute button, gorgeous. You are on mute.
And then she remuted. There she go.
Okay, there we go. Now I'm here.
You trying to stay on mute? What's going on?
StreamYard doesn't always like me. But anyway, I am Lady Victoria, founder and CEO of Victoria School of Etiquette, where we teach etiquette protocols and principles to just about every age group. I specialize also as a life coach dealing with women that are dealing with self-esteem issues, the trauma of finding their own selves. That's who I am. That's what I do.
That's what's up. Jason Thibodeau in the building. Jason, holla at these people.
Well, what's going on? Jason Thibodeau is everybody's favorite pimp with a limp. No, I'm just kidding. But
Toxic Bae.
favorite actor, that's all. Acting up tonight. J Tib the actor. How y'all doing? Hailing all the way from the man cave. You can see workout equipment behind me. I'll plan to get on that later on, hopefully. But now, like Taylor said, you know, I'm here to make you uncomfortable, because when you're uncomfortable, you're open to grow. So be prepared to be uncomfortable.
All right. And there it is. So you can see we have an interesting group of individuals in the building tonight. But we're going to get this conversation popping. We don't have any feedback, so we'll leave the mics open as we have the discussion. And of course, you guys can just chime in as we're chatting it up about this topic on tonight. So we're talking about dating after divorce. What does that look like? How does that play out for us to be able to get back out there, start dating again, building new relationships, forging new friendships, all that kind of good stuff. So, of course, I did my research. And again, I am a certified master life coach with the John Maxwell method. And so I do some of my research from my clientele, other sources like Psychology Today. And of course, I am a communications major. So I go to the library of my collegiate institution to get a lot of information from there as well. So we're going to dive right into it. I'm going to give you guys quite a few pointers tonight, and then we'll just elaborate on those and get some feedback from our incredible panelists tonight and talk through this. How are we dating after we get a divorce? So let's first of all, let's start with the don'ts. Let's start with the don'ts. We don't want to start with the do's. We want to start with the don't stuff, okay? And we'll just go around and get everybody's feedback on some things that are just not conducive to dating after divorce. All right. So one of the things that I think about when I think about dating after divorce is don't go into any dating scenario looking to remarry. You just got divorced. You're getting your feet wet again. You just getting to know people again, I'm sure. And for the most part, a lot of people, after they dissolve a marriage, you've been in married, 5, 10, 15 years, you've missed a lot of what has transpired in the dating world. So you're kind of oblivious to it. Now you got to go do your research and start studying again and figuring out how to get back in there. So let's not go in with the intent to be married, okay? Even though you may have in your mind's eye, oh, I want to be remarried, and that, those things, that's all beautiful and all wonderful. But as you're dating, getting to relearn yourself while you're connecting with others, let's kind of scale back from the idea of, okay, I'm gonna meet Jack and we're gonna get married. That's not the effective way to date. I'm gonna yield over to Lady Victoria. She got a little head nodding going on. Lady Victoria, give us a strong don't when you're out there attempting to get your feet wet again and you're starting to get in the dating world again. Give us a strong don't. And guys, make sure you go ahead and spread that wealth and do a share for us. Our panelists have already shared with their communities, but we need you guys to share as well. The social media arena does not notify all of our communities like it used to. I found that out the other day. So we need you guys to go ahead and click that SHARE button and let others know that we're in the saddle tonight. So Lady Victoria, I'm going to go over to you, lady. What's a good don't in the dating world after divorce?
A good don't, I think, is don't rush in. Don't rush into a new relationship right away. You just got divorced or your spouse passed away, whatever the situation is, give yourself time. Don't rush into a new relationship right away. There are too many other things that you need to do as an individual before you can start getting your feet wet in a new relationship, whether it was a long-term relationship or if you're one of those people, you hop from relationship to relationship. You don't have a relationship that lasts longer than maybe a year. You're with multiple people at the same time. Don't rush in. You have a lot of inner work to do and a lot of inner healing that you need to take care of. There's forgiveness that needs to happen on both sides. I don't want to share everything all at one time, but I would say one of the biggest things is don't rush in. Give yourself time before you jump into another relationship.
That's good. So Taylor, what's a strong don't when you're out here in the dating space after divorce?
Don't
laugh. Look, don't laugh.
No. A strong don't is don't expect dating to be how it was when you started dating in the 80s, right? I mean,
why you had to bring up the 80s? Why you had to go way back to the 80s?
Because people that's been in long relationships after divorce, it's really a shock to them. So I'll just stick with the question. I'll elaborate later. Just don't expect the dating feel to be the same as how you left it before you got into that relationship with your significant other.
And he did, y'all. He did say something about the 80s. I don't even know why he want to bring up the 80s and act like somebody been married for 52 years and then they trying to date again. Why you want to do us like that, Taylor? Jason Thibodeau, give us
What
a strong don't. After divorce, you're divorced, you're
Yeah.
out here dating. Give us a strong don't when it comes to getting back out in the dating world and getting our feet wet again.
Well, y'all pretty much hit on all the strong points I had, but one thing I would say is don't bring your baggage from the previous relationship into you. Don't bring that with you. Go and let that go. Like Lady Victoria said, Taylor Mays, you know, and like everybody on this panel said, be prepared to heal. Be prepared to get to know yourself again, especially if you've been in a really, really, really long relationship. You know, you're going to have to learn how to let all of that stuff that you did not like about that relationship go. That way you don't abuse the next person.
Now, okay, so let's fast forward from the unhealed or unwhole individual to a person who is good. They've resolved all their issues. They chilling. They've done all that good work and all those wonderful inner workings and things of that nature, and they're out here getting their feet wet. So let's talk about those individuals who are they pretty dope and they about it, ready to go ahead and get things crack-a-lacking. Okay. Here's another thing too that I wanted to bring up while we're in the hot seat. Okay. Now, a lot of people don't agree with this, but I'm gonna bring this up and I'm gonna let my panelists talk about this part. One major thing, and this is it was in Psychology Today in one of my psychology books for school as well. I've also had a couple of clients that have gone through this experience, but wait until your divorce is final before you start dating again. Because technically, if you're still married, you're not really dating.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, let's just keep it a buck. If you're still married, regardless of if your spouse lives in the property with you or not, you're not technically dating. You're somebody's spouse. So even if you guys are separated and you're like, oh, I know this marriage is over, we're not getting back together, we respect that. Wonderful. All that's great. However, by law, you're still somebody's spouse. So wait until your divorce or separation is final before you start dating. Because there's a lot of lies encompassed in that. One major reason, most people are not going to say, I'm still married. My spouse lived 23 miles from here, whatever. Most people will not divulge that. So there's going to be quite a bit in a lot of instances where there's going to be deception out front because that person does not want you to know their marital status. What's y'all's thoughts about that?
No, I agree. I definitely agree because it seems like sometimes you'll end up getting real close to somebody, but you haven't resolved your previous. And that little bit of overlap can actually cause you a lot more drama and a lot more heartache than what you're trying to get out of in the first darn place.
Taylor, go ahead. I know you're toxic. Go ahead. You're waiting on a toxic moment. Right here, right now is your turn to be toxic.
I mean, technically, you guys are correct. I mean, legally, you're still married. So, what are you gonna say? You know.
No, tell us the toxic part.
You know, I've seen it happen. I've seen it work. So I'm gonna speak for those. I'm gonna speak for the other side of that.
Okay, for the ones that are married to somebody and then they dating somebody else and they good. That's what you're saying.
I'm saying that if the ones that are married that do divulge that they're married,
okay,
that show proof that they're legally separated, that is you getting to know. I don't see anything wrong with that. I don't see anything wrong because at the end of the day, you know, you might go out on a date, but you know, you're just getting to know somebody. We call it a date because I don't know. It sounds good. It's seclusive. It's inclusive. But at the end of the day, you're going out to dinner with somebody to get to know them. That's literally what it is. It's not like, it is. It is. I know people that go on coffee dates, and it's nothing. And it's there's nothing serious about it. I know some people that just want to go out and have a good time. They love to be in the presence of the opposite sex. We might look at that as a date. Hey, you're going with to somebody. So I for me, I'm gonna say, hey, I've seen that. I've seen this play out. I personally don't think there's anything wrong with going out with somebody to dinner and you're married as long as you divulge that information.
I agree, unless the person that you're splitting up with is the one that's being toxic, and if they're being drama filled and everything else, they don't want the divorce, but you're going through with it, and of course you done kind of got back out there a little bit, and they don't want you to. That's the level I'm speaking from. Outside of that,
yeah, and I'm thinking that too.
Friends,
Yes.
if we're
Okay, hold, say that one more time. I
agree with you. The level that I was coming from about making sure that your other situation is taken care of was coming more from the toxic standpoint of, say, for instance, if I'm done with the relationship and she isn't, she's still in the picture, she's still popping up, she's still showing up, she's still causing problems. I don't want to include somebody new in that. You see what I'm saying? Now, if everything is over, and it's just a matter of paperwork, I'm in the streets. You know what I'm saying?
What? Hold on. Pause. What do you mean? What do you mean if it's a matter of paperwork? Are you saying you're still married?
I'm saying, you saying just going on a coffee date or whatever, if the paperwork ain't final. You said didn't see nothing wrong with that if the relationship was over, correct?
100%. I think if you have a separation agreement,
right,
and you don't have a problem showing that to the other person, yeah, I don't think going out on a coffee date is fine. And hold on, I want to say something after, but I'll let you go ahead. I want to say something because there's a lot of people that's in this situation right now.
Absolutely.
That they are divorced, and that person is still in their life.
Absolutely.
In their life, meaning still stalking them, still calling them, still, it's like they haven't left. So I think whether the paperwork is done or not, you can still bring somebody into that drama.
We gonna stay with the paperwork, Taylor. You're trying to turn the whole corner, get in another car, drive down a new street. No, we're gonna stay right here on this street.
I'm just saying, if the person.
But you know what? I will say this. I agree with Taylor to this extent, that if you're married and the paperwork still says that you're married, you can go out on a getting to know each other again date, or just getting back out there date with a platonic friend. But if it's someone that's looking to be in a relationship, I think you need to hold back. I think it's great to use a platonic friend to begin to go out again, dating again. This person is going to help you get back into the dating arena by showing you what it's like today, as opposed to 20 years ago when you got married and you've only dated your spouse. So I agree in that respect, that you can go out with someone, just a friend date. That's what we call them. A friend just going out, like you said, coffee dates, or, Thursday night is your movie night. And so you and your platonic friend go out for movie to enjoy the movie. But he's going to treat you as if he's taking you out on a date to help you get back into that pool again and get your feet wet again. But if the paperwork is still not, done, it's not final, I think you need to hold back before you jump out there again.
And one of the main reasons why, and Lisa brought up a good point, she said, but if you know your previous relationship is over, should you miss out on that opportunity? It's not really an opportunity until you've dissolved what you have and you've dealt with yourself. Here's where the bigger challenge is: when people jump out of the, out of the frying pan into the, what is it called again?
Into the fire.
Something like that. That scenario is very true. Most of those relationships, and I'll have to do some more research on it, but from what I found, there's still like 87% of those relationships that don't work, because the person, first of all, they've not gotten a chance to deal with them. I don't care. I mean, some people get separated. They've been separated 4, 5, 6 years. That's wonderful, but you're still married. Okay. So even though you're living in a separate household, whatever, there's a process that happens with divorce. And I've not met anybody yet that doesn't have to deal with that process. There is a big challenge that happens with you when that ink dries on that paperwork. You got to deal with that. There's some emotional stuff that happens to you after that. Even if it was an amicable divorce or if it was a crazy divorce, it doesn't matter. But once that relationship has been dissolved, you've got to give yourself space to tend to you. It's not even about the other person. It's about you tending to you. And so if I'm still bound to another person by law, I'm still bound to that other person by law. After I dissolve that relationship, I got to go and sit down somewhere and take time to take care of me. Even if it's for somebody, it might be 6 months. It might be a year. For some people, according to psychologists, they indicate that if you've been married for 10 years, your healing process should include 5 years. They really believe that half the time that you were married needs to be addressed with you being single for that time span. However, some people don't subscribe to that. They totally disagree with it. They think that's overzealous, basically, and it takes you away from, the dating scene for far too long. However, you can still hang out, build relationships, stuff like that. But as far as getting deeply romantic with somebody, I just don't recommend it. Okay. I'm just telling you this from dealing with clients that have dealt with it, doing my research as a communications major, and just different stuff like that, in the community of relationship wisdom. Now, like I said, you don't have to go for 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 years worth of a healing process, but it is very challenging to be in a relationship with somebody that you got with while you were still married. It normally doesn't work. It's very few percentages of those relationships that first end up in marriage and secondly stay married. Because think about how they started. Let's just keep it a buck. It started off, nobody's going to walk up to it. I mean, it's like me and Taylor being married and we're separated. I'm going to call Taylor and say, hey, I'm starting to date some more people now. I know we're separated and our divorce is not final, but I'm getting ready to start seeing some other people. And I'm just letting you know. Nobody does that. Nobody gets on the phone and call their potential soon-to-be ex-spouse and tell them, hey, I'm going to start dating other people. If they do, it's a rarity. It's very, very rare. Because like Jason said, even if it's an amicable divorce, most people, if they do, they don't want to deal with all of that. They got to deal with the pain of their own process when it comes to dissolving a marriage. Now, I'm not the authority on it. I'm just telling you from coaching, from from studying. That's all. So, don't shoot the messenger. I'm just saying, according to all the statistics and the information that I've researched over time, it's just not really favorable for people who are still legally married to attempt to start dating healthy. That's not healthy dating. Let's just put it that way. It's not healthy dating. And the reason why it's not healthy dating from a romantic space is you can never really commit to that person because you're committed by law to somebody else. So if that person finds themselves in love with you and ready to move they can't even move to the next steps because of that. I had one friend who was separated for several years, and I'm going to yield the mic to my panel, for several years, and the spouse didn't want to release the person. Then look how that affects that other person that you've now brought into this scenario. You can't even get free of the person that you're with. They won't let you go. Then what? I mean, in the U.S., it's illegal to marry, more than one person at a time when it comes to legal marriages, right? So you can't just go and marry the next person. You still got to deal with the issues of the person that you're currently with. So like I said, it's based on my expertise as a certified master coach. And secondly, just on my research. But guys, chime in. What are your thoughts about that?
I mean, I'm not going to disagree with what you said. I mean, the research is the research, but I also believe that everybody's different based on what they went through in said relationship. You know what I mean?
Right.
So what was it? What was that movie? I Think I Love My Wife. That was on today. And it was funny because one of the things that they said in there, they said, however long you've been together, you probably done spent about half of that time breaking up. And there is some truth to that, depending on the relationship. Not everybody. So, you know, don't jump up and down and be talking about, no, your relationship is solid, because it may be. But if you think about it, a lot of times these relationships go sour. Y'all stay together out of comfort, you know,
Right.
and then together for years, and you may spend years already breaking up. So you may not need that extra time to get over some things, but you do need time to get yourself together, because you've gotten used to having certain people around, whether they get on your damn nerves or not. You're dealing with certain situations. And when you don't have that particular person, like, I am married. I've actually, as you would say, coached and mentored a bunch of friends and family members who have gone through divorces. And I would see on both sides, male and female, to where there would be a little bit of acting out or a little bit of projecting onto the next person based on what they went through out of that previous relationship. You know, so yeah, you're going to have to take some time to get uncomfortable and learn yourself again and get yourself together.
Exactly, because you got to be fair to you. You know, one of my clients said to me a couple of years ago, and Jason knows what I'm talking about, but I can't, you know, of course, can't divulge it.
Right.
But they said to me, you know, I felt like I was ready to get out and date until I got out and dated. Then I realized I had never had any time for me. And now here I am in another long-term commitment, and I'm not miserable, but I miss me. Think about how that affects you, you know, if you don't get a chance to be with you. You know, we can't be so eagerly obsessed with being with somebody that we don't give ourselves a chance to even know ourselves. You know, and like Jason said, how are you going to avoid bringing baggage into a new relationship if you never unpack the last one? Because you're not unpacking at all, because you're going right into something else. Go ahead, Taylor, because Taylor brain is going on something.
That's the one positive about being an only child is a lot of times you have spent so much time with yourself, you're not that uncomfortable spending time with yourself. Like most of my friends that have had siblings.
Now dig this. Every only child is not created the same.
No, they're not. No, I'm just saying. But I mean, you still, oh no, you got a bunch of them that are spoiled and little divas and everything else, but they still get used to being I mean, most of us growing up will be by ourselves unless you spend a bunch of time over there with, you know, like family members all the time. You know what I mean? But I've noticed the ones that grew up with siblings have a tendency, just in my experience, from what I've seen, to go from relationship to relationship to relationship to relationship, as if they're trying to fill this void. And I've had several friends and family members, I would say, dude, chill out. Yeah, if you want to date over there, you know, mess around a little bit, that's cool. Stop trying to make a real relationship out of it. Get to know yourself. A matter of fact, don't even go out on Friday. Just go to the park and just go spend some time by yourself and see how uncomfortable you feel. Go have dinner by yourself. When I used to travel all the time, it was real funny because I used to have a lot of coworkers that would complain about eating at restaurants by themselves. I thought it was cool because I had the opportunity to people watch, you know, and just kind of see what was going on around me, especially as I was traveling from city to city. And it's amazing how many of them would just complain. And I was like, dude, you don't find some comfort just being by yourself? And they was like, no. And I was like, then there's something toxic there that you need to heal. There's something you need to fix there. If you can't spend time by yourself, you probably are the problem in a lot of these relationships. That's just my thoughts.
Taylor, go ahead. Your wheels are spinning. Then Lady Victoria, I know you want to chime in on that. Because Taylor, his whole brain lit up over there, Jason. His brain like. Go ahead, Taylor. I see your brain over there, Taylor.
Yeah. I mean, I 1000% agree that you need some time before you move on into another relationship. Has nothing to do with being married or not. That's just period, right? In a relationship. I think we can honestly say that usually in a relationship, a divorce takes about 6 to 2 years to happen. When we're talking about if you have a child, it's not 6 months, it's a year. These are facts. If you have a child and you go into
This depends on what state, though. Every state requirement is different, though.
If
It is seriously, it's serious. Seriously, it's different.
I know without a child is 6 months, with a child it's a year. Now, state to state, whatever, but just the basic, 6 months. You could get a divorce if you have no kids. 1 year, usually when you have a child. Then you have to talk about alimony and all this other stuff. I think that the average person for divorce is within a year, 2 years span. I think we could agree on that, the average person. So I think that when it comes time to, moving in from one relationship to the next, I think it's all situational. It just depends, right? There's people that have been in relationships that's the divorce just needs to be final, like maybe some acid stuff. Their emotions and everything, attachments and everything has already been solved. They have already cried. They have already dealt with their emotions. They're just waiting for that paperwork so they can have their freedom, their release, I guess, if you want to say, yes, I'm free. But I don't think that, me personally, I don't think everybody is going through this attachment with the person. They have lived in different locations. Now, unless you're living in the same house as the person, then I could understand. But if you have moved on, you have moved out, you're living somewhere else, everything you're just waiting on documentation wise, this is just my personal opinion, because I hear people talk about the healing process time. And my thing is this: everybody's different. For me, I'm gonna use me, and then I'm gonna pass it to somebody else. My detachment style is, a lot of my friends have always told me that how they are impressed or amazed on how I can detach myself from something. I have no problem detaching myself from an individual in a heartbeat. I compartmentalize certain things, friends. I have no problem. Now, somebody else might have a difficulty detaching themselves from somebody. So I think it all depends on the individual. I think when you talk about women, and correct me if I'm wrong, we have two ladies that's on the panel. After when you cry, when you're in a relationship, and after when the woman starts crying, sometimes she's not crying and she wants the relationship to work or whatever. Once those crying and that tears happen, you're in trouble. That relationship is done after the crying stops. That's not factual. That's just what I've seen. But for me, I really feel that, to answer your question, because I think this is what the question was, I feel it's an individual thing when it comes to detaching and emotions. I think that a person can take 30 days and move on to somebody else, because guess what? You could be married for the person for 1 year. Like, it's, some people might be married for 20 years. Yeah, they might have a stronger connection. But what about the person that's only been married for 6 months? You're telling me they got to wait 2 years, 3 years to get over the other person? No, it's not realistic. So that's just my take on that.
Well, I agree a lot with what has been said. And I think that because we as human beings, we've been made for companionship, and most people crave that. I think it's a huge point that Jason mentioned about some people just not being comfortable with themselves. Some people don't know how to go out by themselves. They don't know how to take themselves out to dinner and have a good time. Not everybody can do that. But I think that every person does need a portion of that you need that healing process, whether they've been married for 6 months, because how long did they date? They've only been married for 6 months. How long did they date? Maybe their dating span was a short period of time, or maybe it was long. And then once they got under the same roof living together, they found out, hey, we're not really that good of a fit together. I think everybody needs that healing process, whether it's been a long relationship or short term. Some people know it. Some people don't know that they need the healing process. And so they just go on. But this is what I call giving yourself permission to be alone. Give yourself permission to be alone, to get to know you, who you really are, as opposed to being Mr.'s wife, Mrs. So and so. Who is Victoria by herself? I mean, I've been through that process of divorce, and it was difficult. It was very difficult in the beginning. And our divorce took longer than 2 years because of different things. We didn't have property together or anything like that, but just different things that, my ex wanted. And so it took a long time. But later down the road, before the ink was dry on the paper, he called one day and said, "How do you do that? How do you just release and go on with the rest of your life?" Well, I had to, for my own emotional and psychological well-being.
Mm-hmm.
For these children that I'm still having to raise, and you're no longer in the same house with us. I had to move forward. I had to be whole. I had to be healed. So I took myself through that process and allowed myself to go through it. In the end, we were friends. When it was all said and done, after the ink was dry, we were friends. We could go out and enjoy each other's company, and that be the end of it. We could go out. Our children were teenagers by then. We could go out with them, and all was well. Everybody needs that healing process. I think it is critical to your emotional, psychological, spiritual, natural well-being.
And Taylor,
That's my take on it.
You did. Thank you, Lady B. You did mention earlier, Taylor, that regardless of if it's a marriage or not, there still needs to be some time to reconnect with self before you move on to the next experience with somebody else. Jason brought up a point about. Go ahead, Taylor, because you
No,
want to say
yeah, it's you know what I love about life. Here we go, right? I love about life is because yes, you have the wrong way, you have the right way, and then you have what really happens, right? I think when it comes to love don't come to you when you want it to come, or when you're ready. We always talk about, oh, I got to be ready, I got to take care of myself, I got to do all the work, I got to do the work, I got to push back, I can't be in a relationship. Love don't wait until you're set sometimes, right? And so I love this conversation. I just want to add, and I know Miss Koffe,
please do, Toxic Babe. Please do. Whatever you want to do is fine.
Thank you.
You are the toxic light of my world.
Thank you so much. I just, I want to speak to the people out there that, is maybe connected, that's married. Yes. But then somebody comes into their life, right? That they feel such an amazing connection, everything just lines up in their life. And yes, they're taking it slow and what have you. What do? They tell a person, hey, you know what, I can't talk to you right now because my paperwork is not done, right? Like I for me, when I look at life, right? Like I said, I look at what not to do, what we supposed to do, but what is really happening with life. I'm not saying what people are really doing. I'm saying how life really comes together. It comes. And when it comes, you could be married. You can be legally separated. You can be not even legally separated, just separated, because sometimes there's no documentation for separation in some states, right?
Right.
And so, do you say, you know what? I like you. You're amazing, but I cannot talk to you, or do you say, hey, you know what? You're amazing, or what have you. I'm legally married. It's not final yet. I'm not fully available. However, we can go out for a coffee. We can go out for dinner, which is considered a date, right? So that's all I have to say.
I mean, and people do what they want to do anyway, and one thing that I've learned definitely in the coaching space is I've met people who have done that. Taylor, they go out, hang out with somebody, you know, I got a whole spouse and we going through whatever we're going through, however it plays out. But I have noticed that people are emotionally unavailable. So they can be physically in a space with you, hanging out, kicking it, whatever, but they're emotionally unplugged. I mean, totally far removed from their emotional state because of for whatever reason, they just don't want to open that aspect of who they are in an experience with somebody. And so I have noticed that some people, they'll go out there, hang out, do whatever. But when I tell you they're emotionally unavailable, you can't even get to them emotionally because they don't have anything to give. They're not interested in giving anything emotionally to connect with somebody. Go ahead, Jason.
No, I was just going to say the one thing that I picked up on that Taylor said is he said, hey, my paperwork's not done. I'm still legally married and everything else, but I would like to go out, you know, maybe we can go out for a coffee. Basically, what I like that he said is he's taking accountability and responsibility for the situation that he's in. And to me, what I'm hearing is he's allowing the other person to make a final decision. Hey, look, I really dig you and everything. I like to get to know you better, but understand I got some stuff that's, you know, unresolved. I'm working on it. But I would still like to get to know you. You know, and I agree with what you're saying as well, Koffe. I mean, I've had several people that I know going through a divorce and everything else that are completely emotionally unavailable. And I'm like, well, if that's the case, why are you subjecting somebody else to the thought of a relationship with you when you know damn well you have nothing to give?
And that's another major reason to, you know, kind of chill until those are dissolved. You know, bringing somebody else into that equation and that person, you know, attempting and hoping and wishing and thinking and considering and contemplating. Oh, you know, that and Taylor brought up a great point when he talked about from a woman's perspective how this all plays out. It's not a lot of women that can detach themselves emotionally. That's more so a male attribute to be able to do it successfully. Let me rephrase that. You know, a lot of women, we're not able to detach from our emotional makeup because of the way that even our anatomy is wired and everything else, and how our our psyche is actually created. It's very challenging for us to say, oh, you know what, I'm just emotionless. You know, I do use a statement where I use my emotions less. However, I'm not emotionless. You know, so I have noticed that a lot of guys are able to do it more effectively than women are, but there are some women who are able to say, okay, I'm just not emotionally engaged. I don't know a whole lot, but a few that can keep moving without that connection to somebody. You know what I mean? As far as that's concerned. So somebody said some people are codependent and cannot stand the thought of being alone. It's dysfunctional, but that's a type of person. Yeah, that's true. That's from A Beauty Now on Instagram. That's true. It is very dysfunctional, yet some people move like that, you know. And another thing too that people don't choose to consider, and that is the type of personality that a person has when they connect with them. What kind of personality does this person really have? You know, what's their real wiring? How are they really made up? You know, I love what you said, Jason, about going out and when you were asking your colleagues, like, hey, you can't even go take yourself to dinner. You don't like being with you. You don't want to hang out with you at all. Well, if that's a part of their makeup and their exposure, and this has been their life, and they've been around 40, 50 years, and yeah, that's pretty much how they are.
Yeah.
So I think it depends. So let's go to the optimistic side. We've been on the not so optimistic side. We wanted to talk about the don'ts and the dramatics of all this stuff. But let's talk about some of the do's. Let's talk about some of the do's. And again, this is the first part of the series. So don't be dismayed if you're coming in and you hear us talking about all of the don'ts. Don't worry. We got some strong do's out here in these streets. Okay. Don't worry. We're not going to leave y'all the do's out. Okay. We got some do's. Okay. Do one thing that you want to do. Make sure you're dating for the right reasons. That's a do. Make sure you're dating for the right reasons. It's because, you know, you enjoy companionship, you enjoy connecting, you enjoy the vibration of having somebody else in your space and y'all enjoying each other. And it's just you're a free spirit and you're just enjoying it. You know, and that's what you really want to do. And that's what contributes to your happiness. It contributes to your peace. And you want to be a value adder to somebody else. So do that. You know, go out for the right reasons. Just make sure it's not because you don't like the fact that on the other side of your bed, it's a little chilly over there. Okay. It's a little cold on that. So when you roll over, you feel a little Arctic frost on that side of the bed and you just want to put a little heat over there. Let me recommend a heated blanket, if you will, for those times when you feel like it's a little cold in your bed, you know.
Don't turn the AC on as much, maybe, you know.
You know, or take those long pillows that they have, you know, at Kirkland's and stuff. Go get you one of those long pillows and put it behind you and back up to it. You know what I'm saying? Back that thing up to it, you know, and that way you don't feel like it's nobody in the bed with you. Okay.
What's next? Koffe just gonna tell them to buy a damn puppy? I mean,
well, some people need, you know, if they got listen, some people need a puppy.
I agree.
Yes. Don't make me upstairs and get my Simba now. You talking puppy talk now. Don't let me go get my buddy upstairs now.
But I gotta do.
Go ahead with a do, Jason. Give us a do.
Yeah, how about we all wear protection? Because you know what's gonna end up happening. You're gonna get back out in the streets and you're gonna be feeling kind of frisky and everything else. You don't want to come home with something you ain't show up with, if you know what I'm saying. Because like Taylor said, the dating game's a little different. You know, everybody YOLO. You only live once. But you know, just
okay.
don't want to end up with some. I mean, that's one thing. Of course, is STDs and people just out here living their life. But also, you're not trying to pick up any extra responsibilities either in the terms of a child with somebody you literally just probably met.
Especially if you still married. But I'm
you know.
But I'm be quiet.
Just throwing that out there. Sometimes you just gotta say, "No, I'm good." You know, yeah.
Well, Victoria, I think Jason has just put everything in perspective for us all.
I think so. Well, I was going to say, do date yourself.
Yes.
We've kind of talked about this already, but do date yourself. Do date yourself. And do be selective. When you decide that you want another human being in the factor, be selective. Don't just go out with the first somebody that asks you out. Now, you've been in a long-term relationship,
and Lady
so
Victoria,
you know a few things.
And Lady Victoria, I strongly recommend that he has a beard. But go ahead, Lady Victoria.
Probably in the beard ministry.
No, you're not in the run as Jason. No. Everyone that's watching the replay, Jason Thibodeau has a whole entire wife at the house.
Yes, he does.
Yeah, the beard is awesome, but it's not available for public use. But go ahead, Lady Victoria.
Okay. That ain't gonna throw you under the damn bus when you go out. Because I actually said that earlier, but you see what's happening over here.
No, you started rubbing that beard though, dog. I seen you.
Out in my inbox, baby. Don't we ain't worry about it. We good. Come on, sis.
Show me your shirt again, Jason. Show me your shirt again.
He over here like this. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. Somebody is in the comments. Wait a minute.
Ain't nobody in the comments saying nothing. What you talking about?
Look, Jason.
Go look.
Oh.
Mrs. Thibodeau in the building.
Uh-oh.
She's trying to make sure I ain't in here cutting up. That's all that is. Go ahead and reach.
I got you, Chrissy. I got you, girl.
And you know that beard laying right too.
He got your back.
Before I get to cutting up too bad in here.
Look, Taylor.
Oh my Lord.
I wasn't ready.
But no, yes, date yourself, and then when you're ready to get back into the dating pool, be selective. Don't just the first somebody that hollers at you, then you're ready to go. Still, take your time.
I love it.
Take your time. What's for you will be there. It'll wait for you. It will wait for you. So just
Can I
take your time.
can
Date
I
yourself. Get to know yourself. Then bring somebody else into the
You in
equation.
time out, Jason.
huh?
You in
No,
time out.
I want to ask if I could elaborate on what she was saying. Because I was going to say that when you're dating yourself, and when I was talking about not being able to be by yourself, chances are those certain feelings and stuff that you have that you don't like when you're by yourself, the other person that you're trying to date sees that same thing.
Ooh!
Exactly.
Oh
Very
no,
true.
yeah, but this is an opportunity for you to fix you. So that way you can actually find a relationship that actually may complete you. You know what I mean? Because if you don't like being by yourself, there's a good chance that the person you're dating probably seeing those same traits that you don't like.
Ooh, woo.
That's
Be
the
with
reason.
you right.
But let's go to the other end of the spectrum. Jason, you like being by yourself a little too much.
Not always.
No, Taylor, there is some people who have, and it's not that they've been by themselves, it's just that they intentionally would connect with people where they weren't required to yield a bunch of time with the person. And then, they come across somebody who they end up liking and enjoying and all this kind of good stuff. Only, for that person to find out along the veins of what you're talking about, Jason, where they're obsessed with being by themselves. They're not trying. They try.
Oh,
They want a companion, but they don't want the companionship.
Correct. Oh, there's two different sides of that spectrum. Yeah, absolutely.
Very different. Very different.
Yeah.
So that person is just looking for a situationship, not a relationship. They're looking for something that's going to fit them, and only them. They're not really willing to be with another person, not wholeheartedly.
Not to yield themselves for that
Right.
person to really be, for them to infuse into that interdependency and ultimate fulfillment relationally. Like, nah, I wanna stay by myself, but I want you to be here to assist me with this aspect, right?
Mm.
Yeah.
I think finding a relationship is the right answer, as long as you're being open and honest, especially if you just came out of a long-term relationship.
A lot of people are not honest about their desire to be by themselves, but they ain't gonna. Most of them are not gonna come up and just tell that to be the truth.
Mm-hmm.
That's not gonna. Nah.
Taylor, isn't there a
They
term?
already know it's gonna run a person away initially. It's gonna run away.
Mm-hmm.
They ain't saying that.
Right. Taylor, isn't there a term, or I don't know, a category or something that for people like that? Isn't there a name for that
who don't want to be who want what to be by themselves?
Right, they enjoy being by themselves, and they might desire companionship with another person, but they're not willing to actually be in relationship with that person. They're not only just not emotionally available, they're not available.
Right.
Yeah. The only term that I know about that is it's probably different than what you're saying, but it's like they show up and then they disappear. They show up and disappear, right? So that's that the term is like breadcrumbing. So they give you a little, right? And then
that's what it is, breadcrumbing.
And then they pull. So they show you attention, texting or whatever, and then they pull back, right? They might be here and then they come back again. They show you love, attention, and they pull back, right? And so that they call that term like breadcrumbing. You like sprinkle the breadcrumbs, right? That's the only term that I'm aware of.
Okay. I knew it was something. I just didn't know what it was called.
Toxic Bay know, honey. Toxic
That's why I asked him. I knew he knew.
He knows, honey. Breadcrumbing, honey. Who in the heck wants breadcrumbs? I want the whole piece of bread, honey. I want no crumbs.
A whole loaf.
What I'm gonna do with? Yeah, give me the whole loaf. Matter of fact, I want it freshly baked. Out of the oven.
About to go somewhere, Koffe. About to go somewhere.
Yeah.
Boss lady.
She wanted.
You over here talking about I want it freshly baked, and what I'm thinking about is follow the trail.
You know what? See, this is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm talking about right here. That's what I'm talking about right here. Hot mess. Well, listen, guys, it is literally, we have 4 minutes before the top of the hour, and this panel is on fire. We will be back in the saddle next Tuesday night for the sequel to this conversation, because we really didn't tap into the do's. We didn't get, and then we didn't talk about the children yet. We haven't talked about the children. So we definitely got to have a conversation about the children's ministry if we're talking about dating after divorce. Okay.
I can't wait for that conversation.
I can't wait for that either, because I'm like, ooh.
Hopefully I'm okay. I need my self-healing.
What? Jason, you are a whole vibration. But listen, look, Monica's the breadcrumbing is a hot mess, and she is right. It's a whole hot mess, Monica. Hot mess indeed.
Monica. Make sure you leave a good crumb if you're going to breadcrumb, all right? Just leave a good crumb.
See what I'm talking about? See what I'm talking about, Taylor? Foolery.
No bad crumb.
But seriously, we will be back in the saddle on next week. I don't know if Jason is going to be here. Lady Victoria, I hope she can be here. I know she has a lot going on with her etiquette school. But me and Taylor are going to be in the saddle. And we have another coach that is really, really dope. Really, really dope that's going to be on with us. He's been in the coaching space for many years. I can't wait for him to come hang out with us. I told Lady Victoria about it last week. So we going in next week. We were supposed to have Claiborne in the building, but he ended up, he ended up with another client tonight. So we're going to be popping over the next couple of weeks talking about this. It's not one of those conversations you can have real quick and then keep moving. It's various aspects when it comes to dating after divorce that we want to just tap into them and kind of give you guys some value and add some support and some encouragement. You know, a lot of times when people go through a dissolved relationship, they feel hopeless, they feel unloved, uncertain of themselves, you know, not sure anymore, especially when it's somebody that you really loved and you guys had this amazing partnership for a specific amount of time, and then it ends up being dissolved for whatever reason. And sometimes it makes you feel rejected, and just feel like you're not beautiful or handsome or whatever the case might be. You know, I had a client that went through that, one of my male clients, and I told him, I said, your handsomeness is not predicated on whether you're married or single. That don't have nothing to do with that. Had to do with your mama and your daddy and them genetics that y'all got going on. Okay. So you good, kind sir. I'm telling you, you good. You're good, kind sir. I know that lady didn't make you feel that way. However, your mama and daddy did a good job. Okay. That was on them, not the lady that you end up getting with that didn't value you like she should have. So we're going to talk about some more things. You know, a lot of times we have these conversations and they're geared towards women, but there's some guys out there who have suffered through this. And Taylor, I know you know that. And so is Jason, have suffered through this and it's been very difficult for them. So we want to talk about that too over the next couple of weeks. So check it out. Let me give you guys these awesome connections for our panelists on tonight. Jason Thibodeau's website is being built out. So he's working on that in the interim. You guys can connect with him directly through social media, and he'll be able to connect with you from there. Taylor May's website is on the screen. Lady Victoria's website is on the screen. And my website is on the screen. And the great news about my website is that we're offering you, just for being a part of the connection tonight, an opportunity to go ahead and click on my site and grab some complimentary goodies. One of our books, Parenting Teens, The Tug of War to Adulthood. We still have a couple more copies, still available, complimentary. We shipped out some, so thank you to those that have watched the segment over the past couple of weeks and grabbed your complimentary book. from our sponsors. So thank you to all of our sponsors. It's a few of them, so I don't have time to name them all tonight. But thank you to all of our sponsors. So go ahead and go to IamCoachKoffe.com. Snatch it while supplies last. Also, there is a complimentary 31-day journal download, and it's absolutely complimentary for that 31-day journal download. So go ahead and snatch those items off of there. Also, our website, DFG Private Boutique. You see me rocking this football with all this bling up in it and all this other cuteness I got on. Head over to the site, dfgprivateboutique.com. Until the end of the month, there is a coupon for 40% off. And the code word is my name, Koffe, Koffe. So go over there and grab your goodies. Somebody did make me aware that the code wasn't working, but I got you, boo. We updated the code and it is working just fine. 40% off your goodies, honey. So definitely go ahead over there and grab yourself some stuff that you want to get, honey. And for your publishing needs, honey, head over to the website, tftpublishingtheday.com, honey. We got you covered. We got you covered for the publishing world. So with that being said, thank you guys so very much for being in the building with us tonight. And for those that are interested in our VIP program, where you can get some luxury accessories at affordable prices and you can ball on a budget, DM me directly. All of my social media is the same as my name, no variation, honey. So if you see something that look like me and it doesn't say P. Brown, that ain't your girl. Okay? For real. All right. A special thanks to all of those people that clicked on our reel that reached 800,000 households from this book. So we're still offering some complimentary to celebrate that. 800,000 homes were affected by being able to see this through a reel. So we're grateful and super excited about that as well. So until next time, y'all come on, holler at your girl. Hit us up on social media. We're here to add value to you and your family. And we hope that we added value tonight. I know we had a whole lot of fun, but we love being here to add value. So y'all have an incredible balance of the evening. Thank you to our amazing panelists. And special thanks to my boy Taylor Made Speaks for being in here with me each and every week, rocking it out, co-laboring with your girl. I appreciate you so much, Taylor. Thank you so much for being my honored co-host. You are phenomenal. So good night, everybody. God bless you guys. And we'll see y'all next time on The Hot. Good night.